Our journalists are being given an all-access tour of the Eskom Tutuka Power plant today. Tutuka has been one of the power utility's worst-performing units, and this is in terms of power generation. Now, a new acting CEO is detailing what happened and how he plans to turn the utility around. Newzroom Afrika's senior reporter, Tumaole Mohlaoli, is there for us today. Tumaole, what have you seen, discovered and learned so far today as you take a tour of what really has been one of the worst-performing plants?
Well, Tammy, what I've seen and learned is certainly an eye-opener, so to speak, in terms of the inner workings of this power station and what actually went wrong leading up to Tutuka being at one stage one of the best performing in terms of output to certainly one of the poorest examples of Eskom's capability and capacity. But of course the new station manager, that would be Tumaole Mohlaoli, just detailing exactly what has been done to turn it around. And on this tour that we are on, I'm standing right in the middle of the power plant. We went inside the facility where he detailed how the coal is basically, processed and how electricity is generated. And what we've learned is that through years of corruption, this process has indeed been hijacked, so to speak, and it's something that even precedes the state capture years, whereby there was internal endemic corruption within the system, where workers then basically found loopholes and tried to extract resources from the coal station that weren't due to them to basically line their pockets. One example he made was how tankers that would come here to offload fuel that was needed to run the generators and to run the power station to ensure that the coal was processed and electricity produced were then siphoned off, and then they were parked where they were supposed to offload the fuel, and that process wasn't happening. And he basically himself had to chase down one of those particular coal, fuel trucks. And when he investigated, he found that it didn't have any fuel in it at all. So you find that the truck owners were invoicing for work that was never ever done. Now, he also gave a detailed briefing about what was happening in terms of the processes. Let's hear to what he had to say.
The performance of 70%, which we had now in the recent past, during my time here, it was basically indicative that it is possible to get Tutuka to the next level, to improve the performance, from where it is, which basically is been to the ground. Sikonati has indicated that, and we are busy with the recovery. So I have leadership here. Some of them have joined me. Some of them are connected on MS Teams here. So there is a commitment that we will restore Tutuka Power Station and ensure that we contribute to Eskom's performance and the economy of the country.
So, Tumaole, any sort of solutions as to the way forward, maintenance, restoration of power there?
That is indeed the solution, and part of the solution entails that those people who are in positions of authority will be held to account. When Mr. Mohlaoli arrived here, he says that he took a walk around the facility as he's doing with the journalists. I don't know if we can just give you a shot there. He is there with a bunch of journalists in the brightly colored chevron jackets and the hard hats, if you can see, and telling them what each facility here at the power plant actually does, what its purpose is, how it's supposed to perform, and how it's being monitored. Now, at the time that he came into power, he says that the facility was operating at around 35%. It is currently operating at 75%. Bad news is it would have to be offline for a planned maintenance, and that would include load shedding, and that maintenance would mean that it wouldn't have to basically be able to give power. That will be over the next 24 hours or so, but it will be back up again immediately after that. Now, these processes weren't done before, and without proper regular maintenance, build up of wear and tear as well as wastage materials that clog up the system then occurs, and then that trips up this power station, which then has a knock-on effect for other power stations which are put under pressure because they have to then make up for the capacity, and then you have a whole system-wide failure. And this is what Eskom is trying to prevent, and my manager himself is saying that with the processes that he has put into place now to ensure that maintenance is kept up to bay and to ensure that financial systems are brought back under control, because there was a rampant looting according to a report he gave, that should ensure that at least going forward there's going to be a steady supply and that there is no malfunctions down the chain, which then in turn leads to the large rolling blackouts.
Tumaole Mohlaoli, thank you very much for that update. He is coming to us from the Eskom power station at Tutuka.